and equipped to do things on your own to become healthy. We do it through the 5 essentials. You can call them pillars, you can call them foundations, stones, you can call them corners, whatever. Comes out. Why do I believe that chiropractic is a foundation of health? Because the only healthcare profession that looks at your central nervous system to do what it's supposed to do, that analyzes it, to see if it's doing that, and then if it's interfered with, to correct it. Do you want your nervous system to do what it's supposed to do? When do you want to take care of it? After it feels bad, or as close to function and health as possible? My job is not to make you feel better, because I can get you just to there to make you feel better. My job is to make sure you know how to get 100%. And I do that through chiropractic. Nutrition is number 2. Why nutrition? Because what you put in your mouth either builds you up or breaks you down. If you're eating, fat, greasy food, you become a fat, greasy dude. Or dudette. Right? You're eating real, living foods that were raised the way that God designed them to be raised. You are a healthy person for it. Mindset. If fear is a place where you can't live beyond 30, 40, 50, does mindset matter?
Nope.
Absolutely it does. We have to get that stress out of there. We need to get enough sleep. We have to have communities of people that we can actually spend time with without a fear that we're passing whatever microbe to one another. To be able to get within 6 feet of each other and maybe give each other a hug. Right? When did we stop giving each other? Everything. We stopped high-fiving, we stopped hugging, we stopped handshaking. I tried to shake somebody's hand at a craft fair the other day. They're like, oh no, I don't shake hands anymore. One of my friends I went to college with, he said, don't breathe at me.
Is it chiropractor?
No, Georgia Tech. Yeah. No, he's an engineer. He understands the science way better than I do. Oxygen, exercise. Movement is life, and it requires oxygen. If you don't get it in at high enough levels, you're going to fall apart. Tissues die without oxygen. And then you do all those things and you still poison yourself? Good luck on those arsenic capsules. Good luck with that excess aluminum. Good luck with the thimerosal and mercury content. Yeah, so let's dive into this a little bit. So faith over fear. We trust in what Almighty God made more than we trust in what Almighty God made. Right? His knowledge is greater than ours. The power that made the body heals the body is the way that I say it over and over in the office. So what are viruses? Well, here's the great news. Viruses aren't alive. Viruses aren't like ticks looking to jump off of this piece of plastic to get you and suck your blood. Viruses are literally just a capsid with genetic material inside. Maybe a couple of proteins to help it recognize where it's at. Viruses require living beings to do anything. It lands on a cell. It merges with the cell wall or the cell membrane because there's similar material, and the genetic material goes inside. Now, for the most part, those viral transplants of DNA are actually good for us. They build up a robust immune system, a robust cellular and DNA profile that helps us better adapt to the environment. The leading theory on why plants gave off viruses going into 2020 wasn't that they were trying to kill us. It was that they were trying to communicate with us to better prepare us for things that they understood more than we did at an innate level. Not a level that can be spoken, but just at an innate level. The virus that the plant would send out that landed on us, on our tongue or in our lungs, and adapted into us and started to replicate and send DNA all across our bodies was actually to help us better prepare for the upcoming flu or cold season. Guess where that theory went? Nobody's researching that anymore. But it's true. You know, God's taking care of us even when we're not thinking about it or we're seeing it. He's got systems in place that we don't even understand, plans for us that we don't understand. And so we just keep working at it. We have built-in lines of defense stuff. So let's say it is something that's pathogenic, that can create a disease process, like the bubonic plague, right? What do we have first? We have a layer of skin. Skin blocks that out. Mucous membranes. Mucus itself. Those things actually block viruses from being able to implant in our bodies in places where they can replicate and grow. And then we have natural acquired immunity, the natural immune system, the adaptive immune system. They're behind the lines seeking and destroying all these things. You can actually Google, right? Internet search on YouTube. The immune system, videos of the immune system under a microscope seeking out and destroying viruses and bacteria. You can watch it in action. You can see it surrounding a cancer cell and eating it alive. And it just goes away. You're so fearfully and wonderfully made. I mean, if you get nothing else, get this. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I want you guys to understand you can do this because God created you to. But you can't be fearful because it will shut itself down. You will suppress your immune system. You'll go into fight or flight. However the made body feels the body. Have to understand the gut immune system connection. If your gut isn't healthy, you can't be healthy. Why? Because your immune system, 70% of it is housed in the gut, most of it in that microbiome, those good bacteria. Their job is to fight off invaders, to keep them from being all set up shopping. What goes in your mouth? Well, everything you feed yourself, right? So you've got that gut lining. You got to protect that gut lining. You got to keep the inflammation out of your gut. What's the biggest effect on the gut that will destroy your immune system? Antibiotics. What does antibiotic mean? Anti-life. Against life. It's like dropping an atom bomb on a city because there's a terrorist in a house somewhere in downtown. It kills everything. And so we see this. In kids that get multiple rounds of antibiotics, their risk for asthma and allergies and autoimmune conditions goes up. The more rounds they have, the more it hits. Is there a time and a place for antibiotics? Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying antibiotics are bad, they're just anti-life. They're there to destroy bacteria. What are you mostly? You are mostly bacteria. What is your immune system? It's mostly bacteria. So if you're in a place where you need an antibiotic, first it should be local. It should be local to the problem area. It shouldn't be a global one. It should be one that you just take orally and hits everything. And then what else should you be doing? Feeding the good bacteria at the same time. Prebiotics, prebiotic fibers, more probiotics, and then not doing anything else that will kill the good bacteria. Sugar, right? Who remembers the stat from my chart in the office? 1 teaspoon of sugar suppresses the immune system for how long? 5 hours. Who loves pancakes? What did you pour all over that pancake breakfast? Was it the real maple syrup, which still has sugar in it? Now, probably some Mrs. Butterworth's or, you know, the Hy-Vee brand or whatever. High fructose corn syrup, essentially. And it suppresses that immune system and it goes. And then you go to lunch 5 hours later. And guess what? You have a soda with it. Or you think you're being healthy, so you pick the orange juice. How much sugar does orange juice have in it compared to soda? It's about the same, depending on how much you drink, right? You get a free refill of soda. So now your immune system is suppressed additionally, and then you go to dinner. And what do you have? Well, let's say you have water. You're trying to be healthy. You have water and a salad. Oh, there's some cheesecake. But I was good because I had a salad and I skipped the soda. I just had water, so I'm just going to have a little piece of cheesecake. How much sugar is in that cheesecake?
Oh,
Let's say you just have a bite.
That's not gonna happen.
We'll be conservative and we'll say they got 8 grams of sugar. How many grams in a teaspoon? 2.5. So how long is your immune system suppressed? On that meal plan, pancakes for breakfast, I don't care, plus orange juice for lunch, and I don't care, plus cheesecake for dessert. All day. Is it any wonder that Americans on the standard American diet, where we get 137 pounds of sugar on average, that's just glucose, that's not high fructose corn syrup, that's just sugar in a year. Is it any wonder that we're the sickest country in the world? Or we have breakfast cereal, we'll call it Raisin Bran. How much sugar does Raisin Bran have? Well, how do you calculate sugar? It's actually carbs minus fiber, because the rest of it turns to sugar inside your bloodstream. So let's say it has 50 grams of carbs, because it's whole wheat, right? Wheat's a carb. And then it's whole wheat, so it has some fiber, so we'll say 4 grams. 50 grams minus 4 grams. You got 46 grams of sugar for breakfast. And that's a healthy breakfast. I don't know about you, but I hated Raisin Bran because it was healthy. Right? Or let's take some oats. Oats are a grain again. They've got a little bit more fiber. We'll say they have 8 grams of fiber in there. I'm guessing, but I'm guessing from a place of knowledge because I actually look at these food labels. How many carbs do they have? 30, 40 grams of carbs in a bowl, minus 8 grams of fiber. How much sugar are you actually getting? Yeah, 22 grams. How long is your immune system going to be suppressed? How much does it have to drop until you get sick?
And guess what doctors tell you to eat that oatmeal?
Yeah, oatmeal lowers your cholesterol levels, because cholesterol will kill you. But what does your body require cholesterol for? Everything. Everything. Every hormone in your body, its backbone is cholesterol. If you cut all the cholesterol out, guess what you get? Dementia. If you have low levels of cholesterol, you're more or less likely to have a heart attack than if you have normal. You're more likely to have a heart attack with low levels of cholesterol than if you have normal levels of cholesterol. Even higher than if you have high levels of cholesterol. So let's suppress all the cholesterol levels. Let's go to a low cholesterol diet. Guess what? Your liver will produce more cholesterol if you're not giving yourself cholesterol so that it has to make it. We got to flip this. Part of the reason sugar is so bad is because of glycation. Advanced glycolytic end products ages. It literally ages you. It makes your skin more brittle. It makes your hair more brittle. It shortens your telomeres, which are literally one of the things we can look at under a microscope to see how much life you have left. Shortens the telomeres to eat sugar. Have I convinced you to stop eating sugar?
Yes.
I don't know. That looks really good down there, doesn't it? What did we just have? We had sugar season, Halloween, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? We either handed it out to the little kids because we care about them and they're so cute, right? Poison. All right, and then what are we doing this month? Thanksgiving. And so we're going to have turkey, and we're going to have mashed potatoes, and we're going to have some sweet potatoes, and then we're going to have some sugar. Right? Pumpkin pie and apple pie, and we're going to put sugar all over it. And then it's Christmas season. It's not just Christmas Day, right? You might only have Thanksgiving Day once, but you probably have 2 or 3 families. So at Christmas, there's Christmas parties, right? I'm going to have to think about it now. Christmas, you have Christmas parties. So you go to a Christmas party, and they're not serving dinner because that's too expensive to feed everybody all that food. We're just going to serve dessert and coffee. And so now you get this Saturday, Sunday, you get sugar. You get your sugar suppression. And then next Saturday and Sunday you get it. And then maybe a small group for Bible study, they get donuts. And then again, you're going to family Christmas. You get the meal, but you're really looking forward to the Christmas cookies. You're looking forward to the candy canes. You're looking forward to the treats. And then what's right after that? It's our alcohol season. Right? Because we go in and we have New Year's and we're all toasting and we just have 1 or 2, but what does alcohol turn into in the body? Sugar. And so we just go through this chronic and increased glycation. Is it any wonder that Americans who consume 137 pounds of sugar in a year are living less long than our European counterparts or our Japanese counterparts? Cultures that we were outliving for generations before the industrialization and the scientific process took over our great nation. What else does sugar cause? Obesity. When you have excess sugar, your cells can no longer handle the excess sugar in your bloodstream. Where does it go? It goes to your liver, which turns it into fats, and goes to your belly, it goes to your love handles, and your glutes, and your legs, and all those places that you don't want it to. So can you work all that off? Not if you're still eating the sugar. You gotta cut back at least to the level that you can work off. What's a good amount of sugar? A healthy amount of sugar. 30 grams a day. 30 grams. If you're smaller and you're female, maybe closer to 25. If you're male and you're bigger, maybe closer to 35. But that difference is literally an orange. It's not a can of soda. It's not an extra candy bar. It's not an energy bar or a can of an energy drink. It's an orange. We have to cut back on this because as Americans, we're the most obese country and the most obese generation ever. And that's our kids. And guess what? You're heavier than your parents. And I'm heavier than my parents. And my kids are heavier than me as it goes through. So we have to set the example. Right? When they say, what are you doing differently? Why are you doing so great? I don't do sugar, I exercise, I don't expose my body to toxins that actually build up in fat cells and accumulate more excess fat around them. I get adjusted, and guess what? I'm healthier because of it. Why aren't you dealing with XYZ symptoms? Well, because I eat right and I exercise and I do all these things. Well, aren't you just taking something that takes care of that for you? Nope. Nothing I sell takes care of that for you. Who takes care of it? You do. Your lifestyle is. It's not me. I'm not here to sell me. I'm here to tell you the truth. Comorbidities plus viruses. Guess what? The greatest comorbidity for COVID was obesity. You were more likely to die, 2.4 times more likely to die from COVID if you had any of those. You had obesity, that was number one. Number two, heart disease. Number three, diabetes. What didn't they tell you to do? Well, they actually told you not to go to the gym. It was non-essential. They said be careful in grocery stores. And then which grocery stores did they shut down? Oh, the small ones. The small ones, the local ones. But Walmart, that's essential. And they didn't put yellow caution tape up on the candy aisle saying this will suppress your immune system, don't go here. Eating this will make it more likely that you pass on COVID to grandma. They didn't say that. They didn't say eat more veggies. They said stay inside, not go outside and get more vitamin D3. How do we build up our defenses? Fats. Is fat good or bad? It depends. It depends. Bad fats are bad, good fats are good. How do you tell what's good and bad? Well, did God make it? If God made it, it's good for you. If He made it for you to eat, it's even better. But we eat a lot of fat. And we do so in spite of all these low fats that are out there. And so what do we mostly eat are man-made fats. Trans fats. Have we ever heard of a canola plant? No. It's Canadian oil low acid. It's from a seed called rape. R-A-P-E, not grape. Rape. Canola oil is a processed, homogenized oil that is highly inflammatory when it hits your body. That'll suppress your immune system. Healthy fats are the naturally occurring ones, avocados. Fats and eggs are so rich in omega-3s. Anybody hear that omega-3s are good for you? Absolutely. Omega-3s are essential for you. Salmon. Why is that so healthy? Omega-3s, and because they're swimming in the ocean, they actually get some vitamin D3 in them. It's one of the few places in your diet where you can get some D3 naturally. Where else do you get D3? the sun. That's where you get most of it, right? By and large. Like if you're not in the sun for 30 minutes fully exposed, you're not getting enough sun. You're not getting enough vitamin D3. And vitamin D3, over 40% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D3. And that's at the FDA recommended levels of just 30 nanograms per deciliter. Guess what 30 nanograms per deciliter does for you? Almost nothing. It prevents you from getting rickets. Where do you need to be? 60 to 90. Guess where most Americans sit? 36. Where do we need to be? We need to get those vitamin D3 levels up. Guess what vitamin D3 needs? Healthy fats for absorption. Good probiotics in your gut to absorb well. You are what they ate. You have to get proteins. But you can't just get any proteins. Anybody ever been to one of these fish farms?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it gross? You get these fish floating on top of the water because hawks just swoop down, put their talons in the water, just free glide, scoop it through. Oh, I got one. Or 7, and they rip their bellies open and they just float on top of the water. And the fish are just there to either eat them or they sit in their rot, and they're eating what? They're eating grain pellets. Which, I don't know about you, but which fish in the natural environment ever encounters grain? Because I get my grain thrown off the seafloor, out of the middle of the flat river. No, it's from the water that comes there, but fish don't get fed that unless you feed it. We do. And so guess what color salmon is when it's farm raised? It's gray. Guess how they make it pink? Red 40. So what do you need to be looking for? Naturally raised, like wild caught, from the ocean, really. Guess what this is? This is cage-free chicken. So you're paying an extra $1 a pound for this. Whereas if you close those cages and shove one of them in there, give them the same amount of space, it's $1 less per pound. You think this chicken is any more or less stressed than if we close the cage lid? No, in fact, those chickens don't really like somebody. They're actually just sitting in their nest anyways. You put a cage over them, they don't care. What do you need with chicken? You need them outside. Then you'd be grubbing for bugs. Poultry don't naturally eat grain. Like they will if that's all you give them. Just like cows, they need to be going outside. They're naturally carnivores. Birds eat bugs and insects and other small animals. You gotta be able to give that to a chicken for it to be healthy. So the pork meat. What should we be eating? Well, here's a simple one. I'm not here about crazy rules, crazy diets. If God made it, eat it. If man made it, leave it. 80% of us should be eating that. If America said, okay, we're just processed food. I know you guys make a lot of money on processing this food and marketing it and labeling it and all that stuff. But you guys just take a break, go to Whole Foods, we're just going to sell the corn instead of all the cereal. If we just did that, 80% of all of our chronic diseases would go away. Right there. Why? Because we're just eating real foods. Even if we don't get the right amount of carbs, and the proteins, and the fats, and you go, with no guidance whatsoever, you just ate real whole foods. You had strawberries when you wanted them, you had oranges when you wanted them, you had spinach when you wanted it, you had iceberg lettuce when you wanted it, you had a steak when you wanted it, you had chicken when you wanted it, you made your own bread if you wanted bread in your own kitchen. All these inflammatory disorders, gut problems, they would go away. Not all of them, right? Because there are some things that need a little bit more attention, right? And that's where the advancement is. So, what are the rules here? Rule number 1 with this, curb your carbs. Right? If you just ate fruits and vegetables and real foods, are you going to get to 130 pounds of sugar in a year? No, you're not. It's just not possible. You can't do it. So, go real. Curb your carbs. Number 2, fix the fats. Your fats are more inflammatory than the sugars are. So you're just getting less. So we curb the carbs first, we flip the fats, get whole, real fats that are naturally occurring, not processed. In their ideal environment, is an avocado better or worse for you than avocado oil? It's way better because it's not been processed at all. There's no irritation of the molecules or the bonds, the molecular bonds. It's take it from the real whole tissue into a liquid form. Next, perfect the proteins. Get an animal raised in its natural environment. What's better, your neighbor's chicken that runs around the yard, or the chicken that came from the chicken farm that's in plastic at the grocery store? The one that's running around. Trash the toxins. You guys have no idea how many toxins we're exposed to. The plastics, in everything and on everything that we have. What's the most toxic? The proteins are. Because of the toxic bioaccumulation. If, let's just take sea creatures for an example. You've got a bottom feeder. Let's say there's some plastic down at the bottom of the ocean because we're dumping it all into the ocean. And they eat that, they digest that, and the body doesn't know what to do with plastic because it's a petroleum product. So it just chews it up, some of it squishes out, and some of it gets in its fat cells, and it's just like, okay, I don't like this, we're not going to do that anymore. But then a bigger fish comes in. Say a salmon comes and eats that bottom feeder. Now where does all that go? It goes into the salmon. And the salmon doesn't eat just one of them that ate some plastic, it ate several over the course of its life. And so that plastic that was in that animal gets put into the salmon. So the salmon then gets eaten by the what? The tuna. The tuna comes in and eats the salmon. And that all goes in there, and the mercury and the plastic and everything that was on the bottom gets into the tuna. And then what eats the tuna is the shark. And then what eats the shark is the human, and we think, oh, that shark steak was so good, or that swordfish steak was so good, or that tuna sandwich was so good, I'm getting all this healthy food for me. So what should we be eating? It's kind of in the middle, that salmon, right? Salmon is not really a predator fish. It just eats the small little things that don't have much in it. So you have to look.